Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at raharden.com. That's the World Wide Web at RAHARDIN.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
And so, my my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I've been through hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to turn back now. You know I wouldn't if I could. 'Cause I'm proud as hell. I can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should.
All right, folks, happy Thursday evening. This is the Jenn and Rick Show. We're coming to you live right now from KLRNradio.com. I am one half of the crew, Mr. Rick Robinson. She's the other half of the crew, and actually the better half of the crew, Miss Jen Homestead. And good evening, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
You want an honest answer, or do you want me to lie? It's been an interesting week. Car broke down again. Single car. Wife having to play taxi. 4 hours leaving for, like, today was supposed to be to work by 8 o'clock. I have to leave the house at 5:15 to make sure that everybody gets where they need to go, because I've been chauffeuring the brother-in-law back and forth, and she's been using the van, and now we only have the van. So now to get everybody where we need to go, we're leaving at like 5:30 in the morning, and I'm just like, I'm at work by 6 o'clock, which was awesome because I had like 2 hours to do show prep. So everything I wanted to talk about on both shows today was lined out before I ever set foot in the office. But on the downside, it's really, really late. I'm really, really tired, and I still have 2 hours of radio to do. Fun times. So anyway, how are you?
So life, yeah.
So
life never really gives a break, does it?
I mean, it could be worse. I'm still breathing. You know, there's always that. I'm vertical. I have breath, and I'm still able to function to a point. I mean, you know, you talk to some of the people on Twitter, they assume I'm a vegetable, but, you know, that's usually just the liberals, because when you don't agree with every little thing they say, all of a sudden they think you're some sort of moron. Been interesting. I've been kind of got myself tagged into like an hours long conversation with some guy that looks like he probably has a man bun under his hat. It's been kind of fun. But anyway, so lots and lots of things going on in the news today. Apparently Mike Pence is an evil misogynist patriarch because he doesn't want to have dinner alone with a woman other than his wife. I'm confused by this.
Yes. So here, a couple things have come out on both sides of this. On the one side are people being like, oh, well, of course, like there is no logical reason that a man and a woman that are not married or not related should ever be alone together in any capacity for any reason. That there's just none. There's none. I can't think of one reason why I would be with a woman that, and I'm like, okay, that is ridiculous. And some people choose to operate. The Pences obviously have made some decisions and agreements about how they're going to do things in their marriage and out of respect for each other and for themselves and all of that. And that's great. But there was a huge part of the right that was hitting back against kind of in a weird way against liberals that were harping on this by saying that it's always inappropriate for a man and woman that are. I'm like, what? Are we getting so like eat up with, you know, kind of being that like traditional Christian conservative, right? That we're really going to try to start arguing that that's how every single marriage should be or every committed relationship. I mean, I have had guy friends, mostly guy friends, a lot of my life, and many of them I have known since I was in middle school. Some of them like 20 years, you know, and I go on what I call dates with them. I'll go grab margaritas and Mexican food with my really good friend Kyle. I love his wife. She and I do have our own dates. And she's like, hey, you need to go hang out with Jen for a while. Go, call her. Y'all go have fun. My husband's friends with all of these people. So there is that side of the reaction is just bizarre. Then the other side is, of course, the leftists who are like, obviously this is some sort of like patriarchal, misogynistic oppression of his wife, or that he is so uncontrollable, like he has such uncontrollable sexual impulses that he can't trust himself alone with somebody else. And then ultimately they have decided that this is somehow representative of rape culture. Both sides of it have just lost their dang minds. And I'm sitting here going, wait, what? And why are we still talking about this like 48 hours later, that he chooses not to, eat a meal with a female without his wife, or that he doesn't attend events to drink alcohol without his wife. These are not super controversial things, and both sides have somewhat made them so. It's so weird.
Here's the thing. Look, to me, it's weird. I'm not gonna lie. It just seems weird, to have such staunch, unbreakable guidelines when it comes to a relationship. But some people are like that. But here's the thing. There used to be a time that we actually looked up to people that would do things a little bit different than everybody else and put their relationship in such a way that there was really no way that there could be any doubt that anything was going on that would be inappropriate. We used to admire people that did those things. Now we make fun of them. I don't fully understand it either, and I think there may be some instances where it's being taken too far. But here's my thought on all of this. Even if Pence is doing this because he doesn't trust himself, isn't it not a good thing for somebody to understand that they have weaknesses and flaws and do things to address them rather than continuing to approach them and eventually giving in to them? Whatever they may be, if he is more comfortable taking these steps to make certain that his marriage stays on firm footing, whose business is that of these are the same people that tell us to stay out of their bedroom. And yet now they're all up in his marriage because he doesn't want to have dinner alone with anybody other than his wife, and doesn't want to apparently have late work meetings with women in the office, etc. If that's his decision, who are we to fault him for that? And how is it being discriminative to say, hey, look, these are the rules that my wife and I have in our marriage? For all we know, maybe Mike Pence wasn't the little goody two-shoes guy that he is now. Maybe these rules are in place because years ago maybe he did something he wasn't supposed to, and maybe she forgave him and said this is the only way this is going to work. We don't know.
Or maybe he's just a super strong Christian and this is something that he wants to do out of respect. Who knows? But I also think that people going crazy about the idea that like this means that he can't work with women or will not hire women because of this particular thing. Well, there's no record of that throughout his career, number one. And number two, how often do they think that the vice president of the United States is left alone? Honestly, how often do they think that the vice president of the United States is truly left alone, completely isolated in a room, where they would be working with a female, completely alone? Never. It's just not really going to happen. There might be a meeting or two here or there. There's going to be Secret Service. There's going to be a secretary. There's going to, you know what I mean? This is not like, that means that it's not like all of his meetings have to be held in some locked room with one person at a time. That's ridiculous. It's not going to hinder anything. And most people, even those people that, do work closely with others like this and have to have long drawn out, meetings and things, or maybe even possibly dinner if you're on a work trip or something, you're still a lot of times in the presence of other people. And while that might be technically against his rules, I don't think that would keep him, or he'd have someone else join them, from being able to do the job that he needs to do with the best person, for the other side of the position that he's filling and what their role is in working with them. He would just plan his day out differently if that was going to be an issue. This is such a non-controversy. It's ridiculous. And also, like you said, people just need to mind their own business. I don't quite understand it. That would never be a thing in my marriage. But I get it from a certain perspective. And that is up to them. And like you said, that even if it is to keep himself or herself from some sort of temptation, well, good for them for, cutting it off at the pass instead of allowing it to snowball into something that could be damaging to them and their families. I think the idea that she is oppressed somehow or controlled because of this is stupid. And the fact that they told us with Mr., BJ in the Oval Office and all his hanky-panky that he then directly lied about after taking advantage of a very young intern, we were told to mind our own business, but somehow this is our business, and also, by the way, part of rape culture. That part of it, I can't even connect the dots. I keep seeing like certain paragraphs that I have to read 4 times because I'm like, I can't even comprehend what they're trying to say and how they're trying to make this somehow related to rape and tying this respected and honorable man's name to it. It's so disgusting, and it just completely some sort of weird leftist think that I can't even dissect.
So I had to wait till you finish your thought, but you did mention Bill Clinton, and one of the things that I started doing just to drive Jess crazy the last time she sat in for you is anytime she mentioned Bill Clinton, she got one of these.
Giggity, 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 let's have sex.
I thought it was cool, so I'm just gonna kind of keep doing it. So anyway,
yes.
but it's you bring up Bill Clinton, and it's an interesting point because here's the thing: there was a president who had some form of sexual relations with someone other than his wife while he was married in the Oval Office, and when questioned about it, he basically, told Congress, I didn't do any of those things, which is what he eventually got impeached for when they figured out that he lied under oath. But these are the same people that said this is something between the Clintons and Congress and the rest of America need to stay out of it. This is something between the Pences, and you idiots and you morons need to go back to saying this to yourselves in the mirror and leave them alone.
I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Whatever decisions they've made between the two of them are between the two of them, and you guys need to leave them alone.
You know what? The other note I was going to make on this is that perhaps they are just have these rules set up because of how much impropriety there is in politics, but not only that, but because of how often people are trying to play gotcha, and they like to insinuate things, and they try to start rumors about things, and people lie about things. So if there was a closed door situation or a dinner after, a long day at work, that they could then lie and sell a story to a paper that journalists wouldn't read into it too much and make up things to fill in their own holes. This is something there. It's not like the vice president of the United States or any politician doesn't have a target on their back for things like this. So maybe that's simply the reason, why. And so why is that? Just so that they don't even have to be questioned, that there's not even a chance that someone will mistake something or misrepresent something. He just keeps away from it all. And even if it's just a political move, I think it's very smart and very respectable. So that's another thing that a lot of people haven't been talking about, but what if that's all it is that it's like, I know what you people do, and you all talk and you whisper, and then things get bigger than they were, and lawsuits are filed and impeachments are made, and I'm just not going to be a part of it. I'm not going to give you any reason to be able to do that to me. I would be like, great, that's perfect. I would recommend that a lot of people do that. Who knows?
All right, so and here's the thing, because you bring that up too, and I honestly wonder if that might not have been part of it. It is when they got involved in politics, they just set these rules up because that way there was no way that anything could ever happen like what happened with Ted Cruz during the primary. Because let's not forget how many times Donald Trump used the Inquirer to accuse Ted Cruz of having affairs because he was alone with all of these women. And what do men do when they're alone with women? Well, according to the Inquirer, Ted Cruz did this. Seriously, that's the world that we live in now. So if they've done this for whatever reason they've done it. First of all, I respect their ability to decide something like that and actually stick to it, even if it is, like I said, it's a little weird to me. I don't mind if my wife goes out and hangs out with friends, whether they're male or female, really doesn't make any difference to me, and she doesn't really care if I do the same. But, to each their own. Isn't that what... I thought that's what all of this, love is love stuff was supposed to be about, is, leave people alone and let them live their lives and be married to whomever they choose and love however they choose and leave them alone. Until all of a sudden you think something is weird, and then all of a sudden everything that we've had thrown in our face for saying, hey, this stuff really isn't as normal as you make it sound. Oh, well, that's just fine, but look at this guy over here that won't have dinner alone with another woman. Now that's just creepy. Hey?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It with all the ways in which they push, kind of raunchy sexuality on us, and then this is somehow something to like clutch your pearls and cover your mouth and go, I can't believe him. I mean, how dare he not go flirt with other women? It's just ridiculous. I can't even believe how crazy this has blown up. But on the flip side, for Pence, even though that's kind of been a nightmare the last few days in the media, the good thing is for him in regards to conservatives and Republicans is today he got to be the tiebreaker.
That was good. That's great, because actually that was actually what I was about to segue into.
Awesome. But yeah, so that's awesome. He got to be the tiebreaker for the vote on states being allowed to opt, to defund Planned Parenthood, which
I'm sorry, I think is the way that it should be, because states are ultimately the ones that should be deciding what they allow in their borders and what they don't. And
absolutely,
if you don't like how a certain state does things, you have the freedom to vote with your feet.
Well, and here's the thing is, so everyone's like, well, this is gonna mean blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but not really. It's what it does is that they get to choose, the states now get to choose how they delegate funding, which means they can put that towards groups or clinics or pregnancy centers or whatever that don't perform abortions if they want to. So this just opens up that funding so it doesn't only funnel to Planned Parenthood. They can even keep it to where part of it goes to Planned Parenthood, but not all of it. And, of course, women are going to die, and hundreds of thousands of babies that are unwanted will be born, according to the hysteria on the left. But I think, like you said, this is the way it should be. And I just was looking at someone have a meltdown. I was watching what they were saying, and I'm going, hold up. Now suddenly that map that you mock, that very, very red map, now that map that you mock so much, it's pretty scary, isn't it? Because feasibly a good 45 to 40, well, about 42 to 45 states could defund Planned Parenthood before the year's out. Think about that. Based on what the voting patterns were this last year, that is about how many states could defund within the year. That's monumental.
That is music to my ears. I'm sorry,
and
but
it's
it is.
Quite this people have this is kind of I don't know, not been crazy on the, it's not just really been on the radar for a lot of people, and it's gotten passed over a lot. This story is huge. This is such a win for the pro-life movement that the states now can decide how they do this. It's a very big deal, and for anyone that is passionate about this movement, it's absolutely something to applaud, and now pray that states do what they can to eliminate our taxpayer dollars going to abortion mills.
Yeah, I mean, and it kind of ties in with everything else that we're talking about right now, but here's one of the things that drives me crazy. We know for a fact that places like Planned Parenthood are profiting off of the parts of these unborn children. We know it. We have seen proof of it. And yet no one is talking about it other than conservatives who are pro-life, because everybody else just says, oh, the video's doctored. It's heart-wrenching. I have watched the unedited versions of those videos. They don't make it any better. I don't know why everybody talks about these little 2 or 3 minute snippets like they've been drastically edited. I've watched the entire things that have been put up, and they are terrible. And that's what a lot of us are concerned about. Look, again, I'm going to be honest, I catch hell from a lot of conservatives on this too, because I'm not one of the ones that thinks that abortion needs to be completely outlawed, because that's never going to work. All that will do is put it back to back alleys and coat hangers and people dying instead of, in certain circumstances, getting the care they actually do need. I understand that this is not a perfect world. In a perfect world, abortion would not need to exist. In a perfect world, we wouldn't even be having to have this conversation. But the simple fact of the matter is, a lot of us that are asking, that are on the pro-life side of this argument, is not to make it completely illegal. And I get it. There are a lot that are as well. But most of us are just wanting it to go back to what the law actually intended. Roe v. Wade was not designed to have Planned Parenthoods popping up like 7-Elevens on every corner and lying to Congress about all the different services they provide, when if you call most of them, they will the people that work for them will be like, well, yeah, our name's kind of misleading. We really only do abortions.
Everything's misleading. You know what happened in Texas? So Texas defunded Planned Parenthood at the state level it's been almost 2 years now. Ish. It was in 2015. So they defunded, and do you know what happened there? There was a center, a Planned Parenthood in a certain part of Texas, because what they kept threatening is that if they do this and they take away that money, that had been part of the Texas Medicaid program for a long time, and we finally, got rid of it. They said, you're going to force all these places that no one has anywhere to go to for hundreds of miles, and women will just, obviously everything's like complete drama and dire straits. And so as soon as that was passed, and then also our regulations about having to have admitting privileges to hospitals and, or ambulatory services on site, and all of these things that are required by a lot of others, that's when all of that was passed, then they immediately closed several locations, one of which was down in South Texas, that had been previously scheduled already. It was already slated to close, whether any of these bills were passed or not. It was slated to close in 2016, no matter what. It did not carry its weight, did not get the business needed, and so they were already going to get rid of it. So what did they do? As soon as that stuff passed, they closed it immediately instead of waiting until like spring of 2016 when it was scheduled to close. Closed it immediately and then said, see, already can't keep the doors open. You're already harming women everywhere. It's just always it's always disingenuous. It's never honest. And there's always little, mind games and tricks they're playing in order to manipulate the public into supporting what they want them to.
I don't know. It's a mess because, backtracking to the whole Pence being the tiebreaker thing, he has been catching hell about that all day. That's actually the guy, the man bun. Well, actually, just for the record, he told me that he was going to adopt this name on his gamer profile, so I feel okay to use it now. And I honestly kind of feel bad because at first I thought he was insulting me, but then I realized because he kept saying anytime he was tweeting me, he would end the sentence with dick. And then I realized that he's probably using an informal version of Richard after I started being an ass because I thought he was insulting me. And I'm like, oh, I've probably been going off on this guy, and he was probably just trying to, and then I realized he was kind of being a tool anyway, so I didn't really care. But so along the way, this is what started this, is someone in one of the, I think, yeah, you're in that group too. She had been tweeting out about the fact that Pence was the tiebreaker, and this dude jumped into the thread and was all like, oh my God, patriarchy and Christian and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude. And then she said something, and I said, could be. I mean, the dude's got like a nude picture of Burt Reynolds on his TL. I mean, like as his header. It kind of looks like somebody tried to do like a Burt Reynolds version of the David painting, and I'm like, what the hell is that? But anyway, so the dude's got a hat on, and it looks like underneath it there's enough of a lump that I was trying to be a smartass and said, hey, it looks like there might actually be a man bun under the hat. So and that conversation is still going on my timeline, by the way, which is hilarious. But yeah, so anyway, his nickname along the way has become Man Bun the Mangina. Because he just won't stop whining.
Oh my gosh, that's
so yeah.
funny.
But that's actually what brought the whole Pence thing to my attention, is the fact that I've had like an hours long insult thing going on my timeline. Dude even broke out a your mama joke. I don't remember the last time I heard a your mama joke, so I had to reply in kind. It's been kind of fun. Anyway, but yeah, it's just the dude can't win. I mean, you know, he's got people making fun of him because he's got strict rules when it comes to how he treats his marriage. He actually votes his conscience and is a tiebreaker to make sure that states have the ability to determine where the funding goes. And the dude is catching hell on all sides today. And I'm just like, I, for one, would like to give the man a standing ovation. I'm not even going to lie. Because, again, we used to applaud people that had really stringent codes about how they did things. We used to think, even when it was kind of more common, we thought they were weird, but we would at least respect them. And now we make fun of them. And, again, the dude's been catching hell all day for voting his conscience and actually getting a chance to give a lot of the American people what they've said they've wanted, which is just more control over where the funding actually goes. And again, I don't care what anybody says, abortion is not likely going away anytime soon. But I don't have it, much like the EPA. The EPA serves a purpose. In some cases, unfortunately, so does abortion. So I don't necessarily want it to be completely gone, but I would much rather have a version of abortion that is not so much like the EPA is today, where it's overreaching and everywhere and you just can't get out of it. I mean, I saw a story the other day where they were talking about making one of the Planned Parenthood abortion centers kind of like an iPhone Apple store.
Oh.
Gross. Yeah. I was like, are you kidding me? So you're going to, make this, go in, maybe upgrade your cell phone plan, maybe grab a new tablet. Oh, by the way, I'm going to go into the back and kill a baby. Yeah, Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a clump of cells. I've been having that thrown in my face all week too, because us baby-loving Christians we're evil and we make people feel bad because it's like a cancer. All they're doing is removing a lump of cells. The funny thing is, these people are losing their own argument, and technology is what's slowly killing them. Because if you talk to most of the people between about the ages of 18 to 25, most of them wouldn't even consider having an abortion unless it was a life-threatening situation, because they can see a 4D picture of what the child actually looks like in the womb now. And it looks like a tiny little baby.
Yeah, it's very true. I know more and more younger kids. Some of my cousins that I'm pretty close with are college age now, or late high school, and they are not what I would call, several of them are girls, and they're not what I would call necessarily conservative. I don't even think that they think much about politics, so it's not really anything to do with that, and they're not, really very religious or anything, but they are, at least two of them have expressed to me on multiple occasions that they are like, what in the world? Of course I would never do that. That's crazy. I mean, they're like outright disgusted. Like, oh, I know one girl that did, but that I don't even know what she was thinking. I guess just because she didn't want to tell her parents. And that's just the dumbest reason I can think of. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I love y'all. I didn't even have to try to feed you my own propaganda to try to make you think this way. So I think that people will be surprised in the coming generations how support for abortion is going to continue to dive quite a bit, at least in the general public, not from the screechers you'll hear in the media, but in the general public and consensus.
Yeah, and you're right. And again, it's technology that's doing it to them. It's no different than a lot of the other things that we're slowly
hashtag science.
Well, I know, right? But that's the whole thing, though, because that's part of what's slowly starting to kill all this global warming nonsense. Is there are more and more scientists that are coming forward and saying, "Hey, this data is flawed." And the thing that I've tried to get across to everybody, because we even have, believe it or not, we actually have a resident scientist here on KLRNradio.com, and she does a science-based show about once a month. But she actually has a PhD. She's from New Zealand, and one of the shows that she's done recently was actually talking about climate change coming from the other direction. Because she is a believer that climate change is real. And look, before anybody starts jumping all over me, I've never once in my life said climate change is not real. What I'm saying is we don't understand enough about what is actually causing the climate to change to start coming up with all these crazy ideas like they have running around in these scientist pea brains of theirs. Because there are people that are legitimately starting to build devices that they say are going to basically be giant carbon dioxide scrubbers for the planet. Look, folks, we don't understand enough about what our impact is in that particular situation. So if you start building giant machines that are going to absorb carbon dioxide, what happens when the trees don't suddenly have enough carbon dioxide? What happens when the plants don't suddenly have enough carbon dioxide? Because they need those things to breathe, and we need them to breathe. So we need to understand the science. There are too many variables that we do not yet understand because we have not been tracking things long enough. And for everybody that's freaking out over the EPA potentially being cut and the fact that the former Attorney General here from Oklahoma, Scott Pruitt, is now the director of the EPA, again, no one is trying to get rid of the EPA. We're trying to get the EPA back to its original mandate. Because I hate to clue you in on this, folks, no matter how much they try to overregulate us, no matter how much they try to tax us to death, no matter how much more expensive they make a car by making sure that it can meet unattainable standards, it's not going to do us any good to keep continuing to totally overgreen up our corner of the planet when the rest of the world doesn't give a damn. Because we all breathe the same air. No matter how much we clean our corner, if we can't get the rest of the world to clean their corners too, no matter how hard we try, it's not going to work. And the simple fact of the matter is the EPA stepped away from that role a long time ago, and they became a regulatory behemoth. And that's another thing that I've been catching heck on Twitter for all week today. Because, well, obviously I'm a conservative, so I don't want people to have clean air, clean water, and I want them to cut down all the trees and turn them into paper and mine up all the coal and drill for every ounce of oil. I'm like, have I said any of those things? None of the conservatives that I know have said any of those things. And what drives me crazy is we're the ones that put the things into practice that these people are bitching about that they supposedly do every single day. Because you watch a conservative group that gets together to hold a rally versus a Democratic group that gets together to hold some sort of a protest, and you see which area looks better by the time it's all said and done. I wager you $50 it ain't going to be the liberal one, because I've seen it time and time again where they completely destroy the environment of a place that they're in. The Indians right now, the Native Americans right now that have been protesting the pipelines have watched their entire areas be destroyed because people are they were littering all over them. They were defecating out in the middle of wherever they were at and not cleaning it up. And there are people they're actual city governments now that are trying to sue people over the damages that they've done. And these are the people that were there to try to protect the environment.
Well, that has pretty much been the case, at least in the last few years since I've really been paying attention, is on any of these that are trying to protest some sort of environmental action, or, like we're talking about DAPL and Keystone Pipeline. That's always the case. Look at even Occupy Wall Street, which wasn't necessarily, protesting anything environmental, but they were in general kind of supporting all causes leftist and anti everything right and everything capitalist, and that we're harming everything, people, earth, all of it. And that place was, it was absolutely disgusting. It was like a city dump. But almost everywhere that they have held any sort of major rally or protest, excuse me, or something of the sort, particularly in regards to the climate or the environment, they're not acting like they're good stewards because of the way that they trash the place where they're protesting or holding their rally. It put your money where your mouth is in. And you know what? I will say I had quite a few friends on Facebook that are pretty dang liberal that really spoke out about the stuff at DAPL, that really were like, this is such a shame. And, you're not a true believer and you're not truly fighting for what you say you are if this is how you disrespect not only the earth that you are standing on, but the fellow human beings that now have to clean that up after you and have to deal with, the aftermath of you being here. Like, the cause is, just because you were focused on one cause doesn't mean that you just get to trash everything else and expect someone else to clean up your mess. And I had quite a few people that were saying it. I was really, really happy to see that people were appalled instead of just making excuses, which typically happens too. But it's just crazy.
It's absolutely crazy. All right, so we have both been kind of a little bit ranty today, so we've blown completely past the bottom of the hour break. So we need to take that real quick. When we come back, I want to change gears because I don't know if you saw it earlier. I tried to tag you in it. Apparently, there is now proof that there has been some shenanigans going on at the State Department for quite some time. So we're going to talk about that when we get back right here on Jenn and Rick. Don't go away. We're on KLRnradio.com. We'll be back here in just about 4 minutes.
I'm proud as hell, I can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need the Debt Ninja. If you've been caught in a financial trap and need to be set free, then you need the Debt Ninja. Want to stop those harassing collection calls, start saving thousands in interest and fees, and get out of debt fast? Then you need to call the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja will find the best companies across the country that will help you consolidate all your bills into one easy payment, reduce your payments by 30 to 50%, and get you out of debt fast. If you have unsecured debt of $10,000 or more, such as credit cards, loans, or medical bills, call the Debt Ninja for a free 15-minute consultation.
Call 800-826-1246. 800-826-1246. That's 800-826-1246. Call today.
The Debt Ninja.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at raharden.com. That's the World Wide Web at RAHARDIN.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov because fire is everyone's fight.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. You can do for your country.
Freedom is never more than one generation.
All right, folks, we are back. We are live, and we've only got about 15 minutes left, so good thing we only really had about 1 or 2 more topics we were going to cover because we kind of went through the rest of it and kind of forgot about commercials. All right, so anyway, for those of you that have been living under a rock, you may realize that the liberals have basically had this all-out thing going on where no matter what, they were going to find a way to tie anyone they could in the Trump campaign to the Russians, because the Russians are the biggest, scariest enemy that we have right now, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Flashback 4 years ago when basically Obama made fun of Romney for saying much the same thing, and now all of a sudden the liberals seem to be pulling things from the Romney playbook. I wonder if he's pulling things from their binder full of women. Just kind of curious. But
I don't know.
But, so some interesting things have come to light. Apparently, they are now starting to uncover folks within the State Department that have been there since, shall we say Hillary Clinton times, that have been using top secret clearances inappropriately and communicating back and forth with certain Chinese government officials.
Yes. So that seems super shady because if you read the whole thing, and everybody needs to know this is not just on some obscure blog site or something. This is not on InfoWars. This is on a government website where it's announced through the Justice Department. It is super sketchy because there's cash involved, cash gifts, and then other kind of trade-off gifts and paying for an apartment, and then, various things that basically this is really big. This is a really big deal. And this person had top security clearance.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They had to have known that we were going to find out about this.
Yeah, I don't know. And for all we know, though, this may have been an ongoing investigation for a while. So, the Obama administration may have been completely cooperative in this whole thing and trying to get this person finally indicted. We don't really know any of those details yet, but the way that it is announced on there is just okay, here's a daily briefing, blah, blah, blah. It's just kind of thrown on there. It's not I don't know. It's so weird to me. And it's really strange that like the media outlets haven't really picked it up and put it out there at all. But of course that they don't want to make anyone that's not a Republican or from a Republican administration look bad. So of course they didn't.
I mean, I don't get it. I mean, is this the reason why they've had, pardon my language for a second, but I'm kind of an old school guy. Is this one of the reasons why the Democratic Party has had such a hard-on with trying to connect Trump to the Russians? Because they knew if there was a transition of power that we were going to start figuring out all the shady crap that they've been up to. So they've been trying to throw anything that they could at the wall to make it stick. So when the story finally came out, but look, they're doing it too.
Yeah, I really don't know. But it's weird. It's weird. And the things about just even in that kind of vague article, there's still enough specifics to be like, whoa, what the heck is going on here? And we are talking about the Chinese. What in the world was this person doing? Who else knew about it? You know, what has possibly been sold? And, you know, who knows who was cooperative in this or not? I don't know. It's so weird.
But it's just something else to add to the stack of things that we know that have gone on during the Obama administration. I mean,
right.
So we're down to the last few minutes. So for those of you that, you know, maybe you haven't been keeping score, let's kind of go over some of them just really quickly. So within the first several months of the Obama administration, we learned about the Fast and Furious scandal. We also, towards the end of his first term, we had the Benghazi incident, which happened on was on September 11th again. We've had basically Barack Obama turning his back on the police departments across the country, making salacious statements about how they acted foolishly, speaking out of turn when he didn't even have all of the facts, basically inciting an entire group of people into being completely angry over the fact that even he admitted that as far as he was concerned, even he, a middle-class person, was habitually mistreated by the police departments as he was growing up and looked sideways by at people as they were walking by, etc. And then we have all of these other things that are starting to slowly come to light, like all of the things that we didn't know that were going on behind the scenes with the Iran deal, the Hillary Clinton's dealings with the Chinese, now the State Department's apparent, some people within the State Department's apparent dealings with Chinese, and the list just keeps growing and growing and growing. And these are the same people. And look, remember, folks, I'm not a Trumper. I am not a Branch Trumpidian. I am not a guy that's just going to say that Trump is right about everything, because I will call him out every time I think he's wrong, and I've done it over the Ryan Care bill and the AHCA because I think he's making a terrible mistake. Free markets will work if we will let them, and we need to get back to free markets. But in this instance, the fact that they are attacking him and his administration over every single thing that they do, there's a reason they're doing it. Because and again, this is, my psychology, rearing its ugly head again. But one of the things that I've started that taking psychology classes has taught me is you need to pay attention to the words that people are using against you. Because most of the time, when people are accusing you of things, it is a nasty little habit that we as human beings typically project our own insecurities or our own issues or our own things that we feel guilty about upon others and try to accuse them of the exact same things. It's the same reason why 7 times out of 10, if someone starts accusing you of cheating and you know that you're not, usually it means that they either have or they're considering it. It's the same thing. And the more we see the things that are coming out about the previous administration, the more this is holding true again, because they are now trying to create a boogeyman out of the Russians. Now, look, there may be a boogeyman there. I'm not saying whether there is or there isn't. But right now it looks like a whole bunch of 5th graders that got caught with their hands in the finger paint, and now they're trying to cover it up.
Yeah, and I mean, you're absolutely right about the psychology of things, but my deal is that even if that's not truly what's going on here, it's what it looks like, and it's what it feels like, and it's what it seems like, and that carries, that goes a long way with your average person. So even if it's not really so nefarious or kind of manipulative as all that, it looks really bad. And perception is, like we know, perception is kind of everything.
Which takes us right back to what we opened the show with. And again, that's probably another reason why Mike Pence and his wife have all of these crazy rules about how they deal with their marriage, because perception has become reality.
Yep.
It's kind of funny how you can always bring things full circle.
Yes, that is so true.
So I think we've actually run through the litany. Is there anything else you want to touch on the way out? Because we got about 3 minutes-ish.
I don't really think so. I just want to reiterate what a win it was today for the Senate to vote that states could now choose how to allocate their funding. And that is such a big deal. And for anyone that's a champion of the unborn, this will just be one more step in this constant fight that we have for those that can't fight for themselves.
Yeah, it really is. This is a moment where for those of, and I'm not even going to put myself in this category, because there are a lot of you that have fought a lot harder and a lot longer than I have to get to the point where we are as of right now today. So for those of you that have been tirelessly fighting for at least this to happen, where the states can now determine where those monies are going to be able to go and how they can best be used, take a moment, take a breath, take a bow, enjoy it, and then get up tomorrow and start and continue to fight, because that's all you can do. And look, we've been hit hard for the last 8 years. There have been plenty of things that I've seen this administration do that I absolutely like. This happens to be one of them. There have been plenty of things that they've done that I'm scratching my head going, what the hell were you thinking? The AHCA happens to be one of those. But we still need to take the victories when they present themselves. This was a damn fine day for conservatism. It was a damn fine day for the pro-life movement. So take a moment, enjoy it, and then let's get up tomorrow and keep kicking ass. And on that note,
by the way,
Go ahead.
this is a day that this man who's being utterly disparaged in all forms of media was the one that got to cast the deciding vote that made sure that this happened for this movement.
Which is why they hate him now and why they're going to do everything they can to destroy him.
Absolutely.
But,
anyways.
But, the interesting thing about that, and then we really do have to close, he knew this was going to happen. He knew that if he cast this vote and he voted the way that he did, that everyone was going to be out to destroy him, ridicule him, make fun of him, find anything they could against him, and he did it anyway. Let that sink in for just a moment. When you're looking at the way this man is being portrayed in social media and on the late night talk shows, which are about to start, and everything else, because he did it anyway.
Yep,
and
absolutely. And I admire his resolve and his just the fact that he is so willing to stand on his principles in the face of everything that's going on. I applaud him.
And actually, here in just about 5 minutes or so, we're going to come back with America Off the Rails, where we're going to take the show in a little bit of a different direction. We're actually going to spend some more on the whole AHCA thing and Trump's temper tantrum today, and then a little bit more on the stuff that we've been talking about here as well. Not sure if it'll run the full hour, but I'm going to do my best. I haven't been able to do a show in a couple of days, so I think I owe you guys one. We'll be back here in just a couple minutes right here live on KLRNradio.com. Do not go away. It may take me a minute to get set up, but I promise I'm coming right back. So if nothing else, grab a drink, come right back. I'll see you in a few. For those of you that have been listening to this one and have a long day tomorrow, whatever the case may be, thank you for taking the time to spend a little bit of your day with us. We appreciate that very much. Again, if you want to follow along with the shows, you are welcome to do that by following along with KLRN Radio on Spreaker. You can follow along with Jenn and Rick on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, FM Player, Google Play Music, Blueberry, and I know there's at least 2 or 3 others that I'm forgetting. We're still fighting with iHeart. They don't like the fact that I played the intro for usually longer than 30 seconds. But one of these days, I'll either get it fixed or get them smacked around enough where they take it. Not sure which one it's going to be. But on that note, folks, we're out. Take care. God bless.
Don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to turn back now. You know I wouldn't if I could. 'Cause I'm proud as hell. I can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should.